you're going to get somebody to...
We're live.
Yes, we are live. We are live. In fact, I've just realised, wrong way round. Guest always goes first.
Oh. Hello, I'm the guest.
You are the guest and the host.
Oh.
And the expert,
Well,
and the pundit, and the skipper of the Bullets. How does that sound?
yes. That's a lot for just a little man from Jedburgh.
And what is that worm under your nose?
I've had a shave. It's work. It's the work party tomorrow, so I'm going to have a shave then. Honestly, it's probably just dirt. I've never had a shower. I've been very busy today. It's been a busy all day.
All right. First of all, actually, going off script, I've got the script here in front of me, but...
Is there a script, is there?
Oh, yes, there's always a script.
You can fool me.
So this past season for the Bandits and the Bullets, it's actually been some bloody good racing, as witnessed by that nearly 40 minutes that Graham put together of heats of the season, of which I think there could have been he's trimmed it down to 37 minutes. I think he could have doubled that quite easily. But I would like to pay tribute to not just Graham, but also the Shouty brothers, because I really do feel that they typify the excitement of the Speedway, and the fact that they went a whole season without any profanity whatsoever. If you hear me on the third bend, it's non-stop tirade.
No, that's it. It's them guys have done tremendous work with what they've done. Graham and Marty and James. It's sort of, you've got the passion, you've got that raw passion of you've chucked two long time fans up the gantry with microphones, and they've just bloody, there's no, it's not like they've been told, spice it up a little bit and do a bit of this and that. That's just what they are.
Yes.
And I think, I've never actually watched a Speedway meeting with James or Marty before, but I could imagine that all that's coming out of them has been held in for so long. They can only really get away with doing that in front of the telly. They're probably not able to shout as much as that at Berwick, because they get chucked out. But no, we love them. Everybody just thinks it's brilliant. I think it is because of the passion that they have for what they do. It's brilliant.
It is. It's just, and not just a passion for Berwick. Obviously, we know that they are diehard Berwick fans, just like yourself. Cut you would bleed black and gold. Leon, Gary, Mythman and the Oracle, they would just bleed black and gold. And but they also great commentary in talking about the, not just appreciating if Berwick have done well, but the opposition as well. Whereas if you'd heard me on the third bend, I mean, I made a couple of fans laugh by. Do you remember against Scunthorpe? I think we got a 5-1 against James Wright. And as he was coming on his sort of slow down lap, I'm giving him the 5-1, and he sort of looked at me and gave me the thumbs up. Even though I was being quite derogatory, but it was quite funny. If you'd have heard the language coming out of me during that race,
I think it's more a case of, like, getting back to the James and Marty, you have to be, you can't be biased. But I think the other thing is that everybody watching knows that they are Berwick fans through and through.
Yes.
So they can get away with just having a tiny little bit of, Bandits chat when they're there. But yeah, they do a really good job of, celebrating good Speedway, and that at the end of the day is what it's all about. I mean, you could go. I often do it because I'll go and watch a meeting at Redcar, which I do often. I put a comment on the Facebook post about it was Jamie Swales and Gavin Pard put on about another great season at Berwick at Redcar, and I commented saying great night there whether I'm riding or if I'm spectating. Now I will go down to Redcar just to watch it because it's the next best place for great speedway, and it's an absolutely fantastic track. I haven't seen a dull meeting there at all, and it's just you have to. You've got your team, but it's also nice to go somewhere where you haven't got that. I hope such and such. You've not got the disappointment factor. You've just got the bloody hell, what a ride, and that's the other good thing about Speedway as well.
I must admit, there was a time, I would say, when the girls were quite young. We would jump into my van. I had Frank Hawker's old van, snap-on van. And we would go down to Workington just for the sake of watching, the speedway there. It didn't have to be Berwick. We went to quite a few meetings. Dare I say it? Workington used to get into the playoffs. Therefore, that was where we used to love going. I think it helped the fact that just out of Carlisle there was a little chef that the girls really liked because Dad had to buy them their tea. But yeah, it's and bizarrely, it was at that Scunthorpe meeting that Gavin was there, as you say, just decided to come up to Berwick to watch the Speedway, just to enjoy Speedway, and he said specifically, he wanted to pay to come in and just stand on the terraces because he knew that if he'd have gone to the pits gate, he'd have been fetched in. But he would have been given a job to do. Somebody would have said, "Oh, could you do this for us? Could you do that for us?" And so he just wanted to have a night away from the hassles of being in the pits, and he had to put up with an evening of me in his ear, which is not pleasant.
And he paid for that as well. Remember, he had to pay for that. Poor bugger. I hope he's been refunded.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Wanted to ask you about the the Bullets team. So far, we've got yourself.
Mm-hmm. I have to watch. You'll have to tell me. you'll have to tell me who's been announced.
Well, Mason.
Uh-huh.
I think that's it so far, isn't it?
Myself and Mason. Archie Freeman has been announced as well.
Sorry. Yeah. Archie. That's the one I was going to ask you about. Yes, because we've actually got footage of him riding for Bellevue, haven't we?
Oh yes,
Yeah. Shall we pop that one up? Because I think have I got that right? No, hold on a sec. What have I got here? I don't think I've got the one against Bellevue. Drat. No, I've got Bullets versus
bring the language
Mildenhall. Oh. Anyway, I'm not trying to think where have I seen that before. I thought that was one of the videos that I had here was you versus Bellevue, but I don't seem to.
Oh yes, we've seen that one, haven't we?
We've seen it a few times, but anyway, not to worry. We'll do the one of you against Mildenhall
again, if
you want. Well, actually, I've got a couple of you as a pundit, which I think we'll go for Greg Blair, the pundit, in a wee while. So thoughts on the team so far? Yourself, as you say, Archie Freeman. A young man that seems to have been around for a couple of years now.
Yeah, that's right. Archie, I've worked with him before. I've never ridden in the same team with him. I've helped him out at a couple of meetings. I think Archie's probably going to benefit at Berwick massively. It's going to be a good season for Archie. He's willing to learn. And no disrespect to any other club that he's been involved with, but I don't think he's had the chance to flourish as a rider. He's not had the chance to sort of, make his own mark on something. And I think just goes to show what happens at Berwick. The Berwick team and everyone involved in it is really good at finding, the good things in a rider and helping them out with that, and also looking at the bad things and able to fix that. Whereas a lot of other clubs would just look at the positives and stick with that instead of trying to, fix the things that need touched up. So we can do that. I mean, I know myself, certainly I'll be taking that very serious as the captain's role this year. Whereas, I think I'm quite an approachable guy in the pits. If someone's got a bit of an issue going on, needing something fixed, I would say to them, just give that a go, try that. So yeah, I think having Archie there, because I do know that he will listen, it'll be a good thing. I mean, Archie can ride a tight track. He's got a tight track style, so he's done a season at Bellevue, so he'll have gathered his speed there as well. He'll have picked up, how to go quick on a big track. And I think, yeah, certainly Berwick's going to be only a good thing for him.
Well, I think we've only got to look back at. I remember you talking about Jonas Knudsen when he first rode for Berwick, and I think we'd lost the meeting, and then we lost another one, and then we got a draw against Poole, and then we lost one, and he kept coming into the black and gold, and he kept saying to you, "Is this what they're like? If this is what the fans are like when we've lost, what are they like when we win?"
Yeah, there was a few nights in the black and gold where it was almost daylight when we were leaving, and you just thought that this is crazy, because I think every meeting that we'd had, like you say, we'd lost, and it's just, this is what happens when we win.
Yeah,
it's pretty much the same. Win or lose, we booze.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's like for Archie to come into a club like Berwick, which officially I think the promoter is Scott Courtney, but of course it's Jamie as well and Gary Flint. But I mean, they are the nephews of one of the most famous Berwick riders of all, Sean Courtney.
Yeah, Sean. Yeah,
and Sean is often there to help out, and obviously, slightly younger. You've got like Sir Kevin Little, and these are all guys that go way back to the best Bandits team of all time in '89. And I can't remember who number one was back there, but I'm sure somebody will be able to remind me.
I mean, it's right enough what you say. Having guys like that in the pits is a man. How would I say it without pissing anybody off? Sure. It's some clubs that have been at. I've been at tracks. I've been away tracks. I've seen. It's been riders or the rider's mechanic that has had to come and help out with an issue that someone's had on the bike, because maybe that rider's mechanic or that rider hasn't yet figured stuff out about bikes. They're just starting. It's the National League. It's what it's about. Whereas we have got guys in the pits at Berwick. Say there's something's not right with a bike. Yeah. You'll have one guy saying this, you'll have one guy saying another thing, and then another guy saying this, and then they'll all get together, brainstorm, and then they'll figure out the problem.
Yeah,
there's no problems at Berwick. There's solutions. That's the thing that I like. We'll just go, well, we'll try this, and at the end of the day, if it's not working, just jump on another bike, and we can look at that during the week. And that is, it's confidence for everybody in the pits, for the mechanics, for riders. It's a massive confidence boost knowing that if something goes wrong, you've got the best guys there to fix whatever problem it is.
But also it's a hierarchy there as well, because you're the skipper of the Bullets, the skipper of the Bandits is very much a Bullet himself, isn't he? He's somebody that's gone through the system. He's going to be keeping a keen eye on everything going on with the Bullets, because it's just this whole heritage.
That's the thing. I mean, it's like we have got probably the best team spirit in Speedway. And I'm not just saying that because it's who I am. It's made me the person I am all them years at Berwick. But genuinely, you look around any track, anywhere, if you were to go into the pits at Berwick for just one night, which I've put out there on Facebook for anybody watching. Anyone over the age of 12 who would like to come
Me,
in
me,
for a
me,
night
me,
with
me.
me. Well,
Too old. Too old.
anyone who wants to come in, I'm just wanting to give them. It's
Yeah.
not. I got jip for it saying, "Oh, you're just wanting
Ah,
someone
yeah.
to clean your goggles and stuff." But in truth, if I was at that age
Yes.
and getting to be involved in that and getting to
Mhm.
see what actually goes on behind the scenes,
Yes.
they'll have to have a little bit of a thick skin because there is swearing goes on. There is a bit of this. There's sometimes can be the occasional bit of shouting, but you have to remember the adrenaline is always running quite high. As long as if someone says to you, get out of the way, that's it, before it's a get the fuck out of the way sort of thing. But it's an experience that a youngster would be like, wow, that's actually what happens, and they would watch Speedway in a totally different light after that when you've got all these different little things that happen that it doesn't really get mentioned often. If whether it's on the telly or what, you hear guys talking about setup change, but actually to see it with your own eyes, the setup
Yes.
change happening and how tense it can be. And when that 2 minute klaxon comes on, the rider's standing there, helmet, goggles on, and the bike's still in 100 bits, and you got a load of guys just throwing stuff together. That itself is an adrenaline rush, not just riding the bike. That, to watch that and think, oh, and then the referee shouts 1 minute remaining, less than 30 seconds, and the back wheel's not even put in the back of it. That gets you going. I'll never forget the meeting that was on Eurosport. I think it was last year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Someone will know, but I'm pretty sure it was Sam Masters at Ipswich. There was a false start, and something had happened on Sam's bike, and they took the back wheel out, and he literally
Aye.
got to the tapes with a second to spare. And
Yes.
hats off to that mechanic for doing that under that pressure because it was I think it was a heat 15 or a heat 13. It wasn't just earlier on in the meeting. It was
Yeah.
a big crucial point of the meeting. So for the mechanics to have the nerves of steel to be able to do that, that doesn't get shown very often. So for what I'm doing to bring someone into the pits and into that environment to see it with their own eyes, I think it'll be a great idea, and I would like to think that other people would maybe get on board and do that themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying they have to be over 12.
Yeah, it's more or less just for the health and safety part of it.
Yes.
We don't
Yeah.
really want to have like young kids running about the area.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly. They have to
it's
be.
more aimed at like a high school age,
Yes.
just so they've got a bit more of an understanding. It's a case of don't touch that because it's going to be really hot or something. You know what
Yes.
it's like when you're a little bit younger. You go, well, how hot is it? Oof. And then Greg's in a lot of trouble because someone stuck their finger on an exhaust.
Hmm.
So yeah, that was kind of just the way I went with it. I spoke to Scott Courtney and I asked him. I put a massive message and said, could I do this? And I've got this, blah 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 blah. And Scott just replied back, says, sounds amazing. Go for it. Just do it. And I was like, all right, okay.
Yeah. It's one of those things that it's okay being a club mascot, but
Mm,
the opportunity to go actually into the pits, I mean, typically we're talking about not just boys and girls, but girls as well. Somebody of a teenage, a teenager to go in and, as you say, to see what's going on, to help out, to feel as if they're part of that 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 evening, and also I would imagine that there's people out there, youngsters out there that ride bikes, motorbikes, possibly go up to Dunn's training track, and that's exactly what they need is to
mm.
see what goes on with Greg Blair, the Bullets captain, because they're going to learn so much more about how does you know how how do things happen at a speedway meeting. 15 heats done in, as you say, an hour and a half, and you've got the time pressure and all that kind of stuff. It's gonna be great. And how does anybody get in touch with you, Greg?
Just if they want to get in touch with me on my Instagram, which is Greg Blair 1990, Facebook, and I don't know how else. If you send me £100 on my bank details on my bank account with the reference being, can I be in it? Then you can do that if you want.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, just fill your name in on the back of the £20 note and send it to Greg Blair, care of the live chat here. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. No, well.
Absolutely. Don't worry, you'll get it. You'll get it.
That's all right.
God, no, don't worry. Your dad will take care of you. Don't worry about that. Can I ask you a little bit about the your thoughts on both the Berwick Bandits team, looking forward to next year, and the other teams that have been assembled so far? Let's start off with the Bandits team. It looks, I would say, it looks pretty exciting. I like the fact that Rory Schlein is not just coming back to ride for us, but he's riding for Wolves as well. Now, if Wolves are having him back in the Premiership, it's not just a case of him coming back just to on a jolly. Rory, I believe, is relocating back to the UK.
Yeah, I have heard that the family's coming over. It's a full shebang. There's people giving him stick for he's had a farewell meeting and then now he's come back. He's went over there for whatever reason. It's not worked out. It's not been a thing that they've wanted to do, and they've come back over here. And he's obviously still feeling pretty fit. Let's just get on it. I think. Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, coming over here, he's got a wealth of knowledge. He's been involved in Speedway. I think he came over here, 20 years ago? 2002?
I mean, when you see pictures of him when he first came over here with the glasses, I'm trying to think who he reminds me of, but he looks like a little school kid.
Yeah, I mean, he's always just been one of those riders that you can rely on to do the job, and I think him coming to Berwick, okay, he's not going to be, as Flinty said on this show, he's not going to be Chris Plummer Harris battling around the fence, but he's there to do the job. He's there to win races, and if Rory gets out the gate, I would not like to bet on anyone trying to pass him because he's fast. He's one of those riders that is so smooth and in control, but fast at the same time. So I mean, the rest of the team, it is looking pretty good, and I'm looking forward to watching them come to the tapes next year.
And Thomas, TJ,
I'll be totally honest. When he was there at Berwick, that would be a time where I wasn't going, so I've never had much to do. I've never seen him. So much, so that's something as well for me to look forward to because obviously I've had big things. So looking forward to that, and Leon as well. It's going to be good to watch him progress once again. I do like the fact that Leon's stuck with both his clubs at Berwick and at Wolverhampton. I think that's been a good thing because why fix it if it's not broken? So I think that in itself shows that he's comfortable where he is and where he's progressing in Speedway. I think he's a lot of people say you need to get out your comfort zone to do things. But what if you changed and things went wrong? Just stay where you are, and if it's working for you, then just do it.
I was going to say, how can you be in your comfort zone? I realised that Leon could just stay in the championship and be a big fish in a small sea, but he's quite happy to go down to Wolverhampton, which is a completely opposite track to Berwick, and be a small fish.
I think that's probably the reason, because both his home tracks are like completely chalk and cheese. So he's able to progress his skills week in, week out on different racetracks altogether. So yeah, it's a sensible move because Leon himself is what I would say is he's got an old head on young shoulders. And he's got good people around him, and he's the advice that he will get from whoever, and everything's going the right direction. But yeah, I mean, and looking at the rest of the team, Nathan back as well. I mean, it's going to be good for him to pick up where he left off. Hopefully not at the bottom of a fence, but he was, in the National League last year. He was going from strength to strength. He just kept getting. I remember watching him at it was at Berwick, and Ace went out and beat him in the first race. It was at Berwick or Oxford, and then you kind of thought, well, because it was early on in the season. And you go, oh well, maybe he's not. We'll see how it goes. You never just judge a man by his first race. And Nathan went back to the pits, and whatever they needed to change, they changed. And after that, it was like, you're not going to be beating me again, son. And he was fast. And the other thing about Nathan is, which I like, is he's got a good character about him as well. He will stop. He'll have a bit crack with the fans, and he's just an ordinary decent bloke, which is good to have in your pits as well.
Do you know what, Greg? I would have to say that of all the Speedway riders I've ever met, they're all pretty decent guys. And I've yet really to meet a bad one. I know there's one or two names that crop up. There's a certain rider that's going to be back at Plymouth who divides opinion. There's the likes of your Cookie Monster, who's he's been known to sort of spit the dummy a bit, But
yeah,
but basically, I think they're all pretty decent guys. They just want to get on and race their bike the best they possibly can.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think you're in the wrong mentality if you're not if you're going into meetings and you're not. At the end of the day, you have to pay tribute to the fans because they're paying your wages. At the end of the day, you have to be that guy that they look up to. And if you're a dick, then you're not. They're not going to take to you, and the promotions see that as well. So it's you have to be that good rider. You have to be that good guy off track, and it helps out with loads of things. It's brilliant if you've got that right attitude.
Sure. I mean, also we have to look obviously at the fact that coming back, we've got Jonas. I mean, on a 5-point average, he's gonna seriously improve that, And then you've got Jai coming back. And I know this is a big if, as James would say, if your auntie had balls, he'd be your uncle.
Mm-hmm.
But if Jai can stay fit and on track, then there's very few people can beat Jai around Sheffield, isn't there? And I don't know what it is about his style.
He's injury-free season,
isn't he? So anyway, looking at the rest of the championship teams, there's I think Glasgow, they have finished their team, they've completed theirs. I think Oxford have completed theirs, and obviously Redcar have completed theirs, and I think Scunthorpe have completed their team. I'm not sure about the rest, but no, I think Edinburgh have they not completed theirs?
Edinburgh's got one to go.
One to go.
Edinburgh's got one rider to go, and as far as the rumours are concerned, I have a funny feeling that it's going to be a rider who was just up the road a bit from Edinburgh. So time will tell. I'm sure that'll be announced very soon, and I don't think it'll come as much of a shock.
Right. And
as far as the rumours go.
Firstly though, so looking at Edinburgh, they've lost Sam Masters, who's gone to Oxford. Oxford look pretty strong, I would say.
I would say Oxford at the moment are probably, I don't like to say it because I think predictions are nonsense because the predictions are never right. But Oxford do look a hell of a strong team. That's all the way through from 1 to 7. It's a pretty decent looking team. So yeah, I mean, time will tell. But I am, as everybody else is, very excited to see this season start. I think
Yeah,
it's going to be one of those. Every team, well, there's no teams that look weak really.
yeah.
So no, it's going to be good. It's going to be good, and I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, they've got Jordan Jenkins riding for them, which is I think it was kind of a disappointment to Redcar, but then Redcar have come out and put together another great looking
Mm.
team. I think they're going to be up there or thereabouts, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Redcar for quite a while now have been chasing that title, and I think I would say the last few seasons, they're probably should have done a lot better. They probably could have won it, but things just don't always go their way. I think Redcar's biggest problem, which is very obvious, is the fact that everybody loves their track.
Yeah,
And I think that is they don't have a home track advantage. So yeah, it's kind of the same. I would say the same about Glasgow, to be honest. Glasgow's got a massive don't have a home track advantage because everybody does love riding there. And I think you see tracks like Leicester and Poole,
yeah,
they're not everyone's favourite places to go. So that's how they have that home track advantage. I remember um, earlier in the season being at Leicester, and it was quite rough coming out of the second term, and they were saying, "Oh, we're not allowed to take them out because the home riders, know they're there
yeah.
and know how to use them to their
Yep,
advantage,
yep.
whereas the away riders can't handle them, come in and they'll." After one race, you hit a bad bump, you come in, I can't ride that track because it's like that. And when you get into that mindset of, oh well, I can't do this. That's the you've lost your next 2-3 rides after that.
I remember doing road shows for Berwick Bandits in the days of Peter Waite, and he said exactly the same. The home riders know where there's and it doesn't need to be much. Just at that speed, it just needs
Mm.
to be a slight dip, and you need to know where it is, and as you say, where to use it to your advantage. And the people that are put off by it. So we've got Scunthorpe as well. They also look quite strong.
Yeah, I mean, it, I sound like a broken record here, but
Mhm.
all the teams do look very strong, and it's going to be. We're not going to have. I'm going to say we. Um, any team isn't going to have an easy meeting, which is only good for fans of Speedway, because looking at the way the teams have been built this season, um, it has kind of thrown it up in the air a bit. There's not really you could say, oh, Redcar could win the league this year, and go, oh, what about Oxford? Well, aye, and then, oh, my Berwick's team looks pretty solid all the way through. So yeah, it's going to be exciting, certainly that.
Well, I would take one exception. I think the Monarchs look particularly weak. I think they're good candidates for the wooden spoon already, aren't they? I
You say
wish.
that,
Sorry, Mike. I'm only joking. I'm only joking, Mike. Dave.
you say that it's consistency. Consistency can be key. As long as all your riders aren't scoring zeros,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. But yeah, no, it's going to be exciting, and I think as more National League teams come out as well, it's looking. I know the working in Comets team looks very strong. Oxford have just announced their team bar one rider, and so that's also looking quite exciting. Berwick at the moment we've only announced three riders, but there'll be news to come in the next few weeks. So yeah, it's the national. I think Speedway on whole, it's just looking. It is looking good. There's been little changes here, there, and everywhere made, with whatever they do when they all get on that Zoom and shout and argue and decide they're not going to change anything. But there has been changes made, and I think it's going to be good fun.
Yeah, I think probably these promoter conferences. I think there has to be a little bit of sort of. You have to have it on the agenda, and then it gets discussed, and then they go forward. On stuff that hopefully, I'm sure. I hope that they've got a little bit of idea beforehand before going into these meetings. I think, as I say, our two promoters, Scott and Jamie, they seem to have a pretty good handle on everything, which is not surprising considering that their uncle is Sean. So,
very true.
Finally, then, I was looking at the comparisons of the teams that were declared last year and the ones that have declared this year. Obviously, from the Berwick team, no Ricky Rells. Has he moved on to pastures new? Is he?
As far as I was aware, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Ricky has moved to Denmark.
Right.
Now, I'm not sure if he's going to be riding over there or not, but I think he's maybe just settling down there. But I'm not entirely sure on what's happening there. But I think that's what I heard. And I do know that he had a baby on the way, or had a newborn baby, or
right.
So so maybe it's maybe a new life now. But because I did see, it's hard to tell because you do this time of the year. There's lots of bikes for sale, and you don't know who's coming back and who's not.
Sure.
I usually think it's quite a telling sign if someone's selling a seat that has their name on it and it's in very good condition. That to me is, I would never sell a good condition seat with my name on it because they're only good for collectors, really.
Yeah.
So I've seen that Ricky had sold a couple of them. So that could be that could be a thing.
And I must admit, I'm a big Ricky Rells fan. I am. I've always declared that because I remember him scoring a maximum for Stoke at Shearfield Park and thinking, wow, this guy is he's so hot out the gate, and I think it would be fair to say that maybe coming in on, I think he was something like a 6.5 and he ended up at 5.5. I don't think the season went the way he wanted it to, but he started off really well, and it just struck me that, and I don't want this to sound as if I'm criticising, but it's all struck me watching certain riders the number of times they're looking behind them.
Yeah,
if you want to look behind you, fit wing mirrors and just get on with it.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I think that Ricky showed his talent, but quite often in meetings, Ricky would maybe have an off night, but he would always pop out at one stage and just show what he could actually do. So I think his season didn't go the way that he went, but a fantastic style on a bike, and he was a professional at what he did. But I mean, if that is true, that from what I heard, that he has moved on, and we wish him all the best.
Yep. But also, I would suggest that although, as I say, I saw him do a maximum at Berwick riding for Wolves, it would have to be said that it wasn't a particularly strong Berwick team that probably finished bottom that year, and it was a case of 5 gates. And that was it, and I think Ricky probably himself often used the term that he was a a gate and tart, and that was it. If
I
we
wish I
made
had
the
that
game.
luxury of that.
You can do it when you want to. You can do it when you want to. But
It's
but
more of
no.
an accident when I do it.
Can we move on to another guy that I don't hear much mention about now, and that's Ace's father, Theo.
Yeah, I think Theo maybe. I do know that Theo's going to be doing the long track. I think
Yeah,
maybe a thing. I haven't heard otherwise.
sure.
I did know that towards the end of the season, he did say that he was planning on doing the long track. But who knows? He could appear in a team anywhere. I
Yep.
think it would be quite um, perhaps maybe a tough ask for him to be in two places at once. Having to look after Ace and look after himself. Maybe that has been a thing where he's thought, maybe take a little bit of time out. But who knows? I mean, if he's not actually done a deal with anyone, an
Wow.
injury could happen during the middle of the season, and an
Yeah.
offer that he can't refuse could come along.
Sure.
So you never know. That's the thing with Speedway. You just never know what's around that corner.
Which leads us on nicely to Glasgow. I remember saying early on in this season in the chat, looking forward to next season for the Bandits. I would definitely want to see Lee Complin and Ace Piper as our reserves.
Mm.
Forward, they are paired together, but at Glasgow look particularly strong, don't they? But how's Klaus
Yeah,
going to go?
I don't know. I mean, again, I've not been involved in Speedway when Klaus was about,
Right.
so I don't. I don't know. You never know. It could be one of them seasons. He has an absolute cracker, but well, time will tell.
Yep. Okay, so
Uh,
thoughts on Ace, because I know you're particularly fond of Ace, being
yeah,
a family friend. It seemed a no brainer. Shall I say, from his very first meeting, it was Berwick Bullets versus Armadale Devils, and he shot out of the gate in reserve heat in the heat number 2. And you knew
mm,
then, my God, this is a 15-year-old, and he's just riding this track like, he really does know where he's going. The guy is exceptionally talented.
yeah. I think he's gonna. If you're riding at a level, sometimes you have to step that level up, and I think that's what they're going to go for.
Yeah.
And I, I think Ace can do the job as long as he keeps the mental focus on the job. It's it can be difficult at 16 years of age to go out on the track against a top rider and think, wow, he should beat me here, even if I score a point in this race, and I've done all right. But his mentality could be, I would like to pop out and beat him. That would
Yeah.
throw the cat among the pigeons. So it just depends what happens over the winter. I know that he's going to be riding in February. He's going to France. I was speaking to him. He's away to France to be riding over there. So yeah, getting on the bike early is the good thing, and he's going to. It just shows that he's ready for it, and wish him the best of luck. I mean, I think everyone at Berwick will be wishing him the best of luck, but hopefully not too much luck when he comes to Shielfield Park on that fixture.
I think it's a case of he needs to take the, dare I say it, the skipper of the Bandits in '91 is Kelvin Tatum, and I always remember him being asked about a Berwick meeting somewhere, and being I think it was Coventry. He was going back to his sort of what everybody thinks of as his own track, home track. And
Mm,
it's gonna be tough for you tonight. And he likes, no, we're here to make it tough. We're here
yeah.
to make it tough. And Dave Blackburn, not a case of he was asked once, what's the difference between the top tier and the second division? He said, I don't know. Is it the number of bikes you're allowed? It's like, no, there's no difference. Just get
Yeah.
out and race your bike. if you make the start, you might win the race. Not that I've ever experienced that, but you have on many occasions. Greg, I realised that there's a certain ollie that needs to get walked, and
I was just going to say he's looking at me intensely. So
he's pointing to his watch, saying, "Come on, pal, time's up."
Come on, let's go. No, well, and I think on that note, I would just like to wish everyone watching, I hope they have a Merry Christmas. We've got some guests lined up soon. I know you said you're getting Cozza Smith on. I've just this evening booked a guest for before New Year, which will be Mason Watson, and so he replied to me as we went on air. So yeah, we'll look forward to that. And once again, Merry Christmas to everyone, and we'll get a show on in between Christmas and New Year.
In the meantime, a bit of Greg Blair in action, but not as a rider, as a pundit.
So here we are coming into the third bend, and I'm wearing this brightly coloured shirt for the man who's normally standing there with another brightly coloured shirt. This, I would say, is probably the fastest part of the track. You're coming in here with a hell of a rate of knots, and you've got this banking to run up when you're coming in. So you want to come in here just off where, at that dip there, and you've got a lot of options. You can do what Theo Piper's been doing. He cuts it down onto the white line, and he can usually build up enough speed to get yourself out the corner and get into first place. Or you can do what Bummer does, or myself, and run it away up round the fence and keep that momentum going and come off the corner onto the straight, again carrying a lot of speed. So your options, you've pretty much got to decide what you want to do when you're halfway along the straight, who's behind you or who's in front of you. But 9 times out of 10, you'll see boys wanting to chase the dirt up against the fence. And looking at it, it does look like there's going to be a bit of material just coming out the fourth bend, which we'll go and have a little look at just now.
And I would just like to echo what Greg Bartosz Blair has just said. Wish everybody a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you again soon. And it's great news that we're going to get a few more guests lined up for you, and hopefully see you soon. Bye for now.